Hello everyone and welcome to another review for Knights of the Frozen Throne, a BACHATA ROCKSTAR Hearthstone video. Thank you so much for joining us. We got a bunch of new cards revealed since the reveal stream. It is Monday, the 31st at 8:30 a.m. Don't ask me why I'm up this early. I don't fucking know. I slept like 12 hours last night and now I'm up. And here we go. Let's get into the cards. Had a bunch of new reveals. We're probably going to maybe even break this up into two videos. Who knows? Let's find out. But card number one, this bad boy right here. It's a mage card. Ice Walker. 2 mana, 1/3. Your hero power also freezes the target. So, reminds me of a card we had before, which was the Fallen Hero, which is a 3 mana, 3/2. Which is a 2 mana, 3/2. That your hero power got an extra damage on it. So, hero power alteration, kind of neat. This guy has better stats to actually stick around and utilize said hero power. So that's kind of nice. On turn 4, you can play this and ping something and then freeze it and deal a damage to it. So that's kind of nice. Freezing something is strong. I wonder if this would have been better in Shaman, because they have so many freeze effect things. But, I mean, it's pretty good in Mage, too. Stall, 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 delay, delay, delay. It's another delay card. It's another stall card. Is it going to see play? I don't know. Mage has a lot of good 2-drops now, you know, with Arcanologist and Sorcerer's Apprentice and, you know, other things. And maybe this is just another 2-drop and we start to see kind of a Zooey, an early game minion-centric kind of mage that eventually transitions into, say, a Frostlich Jaina or a Sindragosa or something like that. So sort of like early board presence that translates into value later on, maybe? I don't know. We kind of already got that, though. You know, I mean, the Burn Mage, the Heal Mage, not Heal Mage, the Burn Mage archetype is kind of the same thing, except it's just early minions first, then delay until they can shoot you in the face with Pyroblast. Honestly, that's probably better. I don't know if there is a value-based, minion-based mage out there that's going to be better than the current versions of mage. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. I think it will mostly depend on the viability of it. I think the viability of Sindragosa is going to be important in a deck like that. And just basically, is a value game going to be something that is viable that a mage can do? Not because I don't think a mage doesn't have a lot of value, but as you'll see in cards later on, Hearthstone is going to play a little longer than I'm used to. But, interesting card, neat card. I think it actually will see some play. I think being able to freeze stuff, especially in the early game, especially if this thing lives for multiple turns, is pretty darn valuable. My only problem is that even if you just play this on turn 4 and ping, and you constantly use your ping over and over and over again, you're not developing much stuff beyond that. So I think the inefficiency of the hero power, even though you are freezing things, is probably going to make this card not that good and not see the cut. I'm going to give it a 4.5. I think it will see some experimentation, but eventually we'll find the cutting room floor. Alright, next up we got a neutral card, the Meat Wagon. 4 mana, 1/4. Death Rattle. Summon a minion from your deck with less attack than this minion. Aha. So it's okay that it's understated, because it's actually going to bring out another minion from your deck. Interesting. Interesting. So, let me give you the interaction that I immediately thought of when I first saw this card. Mark of the Wild, have it die, and then have no minions with less than 3 attack, no less than 4 attack in your deck, and summon Hadronox for cheap. Hadronox can be a thing now. So, I think you put 2 of these into your super duper taunt heavy Mega Ramp Druid, and then eventually you play this and you give it taunt, and then it dies, and then out comes Hadronox for free. Then you can trade in Hadronox and get a bunch of taunts. it's a thing. And honestly, you only need one buff to get it there. Now, it says less attack than this minion. So I question, do I need to get 4 or can I get 3? If I can get 3, it's fine. If I can get 4, that's kind of hard, actually, in Druid. I don't know, but, you know. Another thought that came to mind, play this in Paladin. Blessing of Kings this motherfucker, therefore giving you a 5/8, already awesome. And then when it dies, boom, here comes Ysera out of your deck. Or even something as cheap as, say, a Wicker Flame, or even like a Bolvar. Fireblood. So, this card seems weak at first, but maybe even like just put this in a hand buff Paladin. Get it up to like 3 or 4, you know, and then this is pretty good. You know, it's a 1/4 stat line, which seems weak, but like I said, give it any sort of buff, and then it's actually pretty strong. And then it's also bringing out another minion. So, you know, Piloted Shredder. You could even throw this into Shaman decks and bring out your totems. You know, this dies, it brings out a Primal Fin totem or a Mana Tide totem. There's applications here. This is not a terrible card. Is it a good card? I mean, in and of itself, it's not a good card. But like I said, give some buffs to it, and I think it could be a good card. So the problem with that, though, is this is 4 mana. Fuck, it's a lot of mana. And then if you want to play this and buff it on the same turn, you need 5, 6, 7, 8 mana. And then by the time you have that much mana, you can just play the thing that you're summoning. You don't get the battle cry. Ugh. I think this card has potential, but I have a feeling eventually its potential is not going to be. You're going to realize that its potential is not actually that good. You know what I mean? Like, when it realizes its potential, it's still not that good. And so, given that potential, I'm going to give it a 5.5. I think it will see play. I think it will eventually stick into some fringe decks, some neat decks, some meme decks, but I don't think it's going to be competitively viable. 6 mana, 5/3 neutral Necrotic Geist. Whenever one of your other minions dies, summon a 2/2 ghoul. Okay, well, the effect is neat. The stats are poop. Why is this a 5/3? Why isn't this a 3/5? Why isn't this a 4/6? It's 6 mana. Did they really think getting a bunch of 2/2s was that good? You know what card is better than this? Fucking Cold Master. That's a 4 mana 4/2, which draws cards. I'd rather have card draw than have 2/2 ghouls come on the board. You know what's another thing that gives me 2/2 dudes? Fucking Soul of the Forest. Am I going to put this into my token druid deck? I don't know. Maybe. But I've already got a board. In order to make this good, I need to have a board, trade my shit and have it die, then get a bunch of 2/2s? I mean, it's neat. I think it has potential. But 6 mana? Ugh. So expensive. So expensive for an effect that I honestly don't think is that good. I think, you know, it just dies to a Fiery War Axe. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I could see this being good in one specific instance. Stand against darkness, summon 5 dudes. Then on the next turn, play the Geist, trade them all in and get 2/2s. So, Token Paladin. This could be a thing in Token Paladin. Maybe this is a thing in Token Shaman. You know, maybe you trade a bunch of shit in and get a bunch of 2/2s and then bloodlust the 2/2s. But if you already got a bunch of shit, you can just bloodlust the shit. I don't know. I think the setup is too hard, and I think the mana cost is too high. Neat card. Might work in a budget deck. But competitively viable? Nah, don't really see it. I'm going to give this a 3. 5 mana, 5/5 Cobalt Scalebane. It's a neutral, and at the end of your turn, give another friendly minion +3 attack. That sounds pretty good to me! Fucking A, bro. I mean, obviously you need to have something on the board, but hopefully that's not too hard to do by turn 5. If you remember, there were other cards that did this sort of thing where it like continuously gave stat buffs to other things. Master Swordsmith comes to mind. The little Blood Imp dude, I think that's its name, that gave +1 health to everything every turn. So what was the problem with those things? They were fragile. They died. They died way too easily. This thing has a booty on it. 5 fucking health on 5 is pretty damn good. 5 attack is pretty damn good. It's a dragon. It fits in a dragon deck. So you can get this off Nether Spider Historian. That's pretty damn good. You can summon this with the Curator. That's pretty damn good. If you have a Menagerie deck, which nobody plays, but I've always loved the idea of, you can buff this thing immediately. That's pretty good. And it gives +3 attack to another random friendly minion, which is pretty good. If you have any eggs on there, that is this card is really good in an egg deck. You know, this card is really good in a Death Rattle deck where you're trying to buff something and then kill it. It's pretty damn good in Token Shaman because then you can buff your Mana Tide. You can just buff your totems, and then they can attack, and then they become threats. You know, that was one of the things that made Thunderbolt Valiant so good, was just turning things that weren't threats into threats. And that's what this thing does. It is a threat in and of itself, and then it turns your other threats into bigger threats, or turns non-threats into threats. So people have said, oh, it's a 5 mana 8/5. That's really good. No, it's not a 5 mana 8/5. It's a 5 mana 5/5 that turns other things into +3 attack, which is actually better, I would argue, than an 8/5. When you cobble all the stats together onto something, it is more threatening itself, but it doesn't help your other threats, and that's what this does. And that's what's really cool about it. And in a dragon deck, you often are spreading the board with 2, 3, 4 dragons, and giving +3 attack to those dragons is really good. So this is just a solid, standalone, awesome card. It's a common card. Another great card for a budget deck. Like, the cool part about Knights of the Frozen Throne is I've noticed the common and rare cards are pretty damn good. You know, like players that are new to the game or can't really afford to get the high cost legendaries and epics and stuff like that are not going to be as far behind anymore, because a lot of these commons and rares are pretty powerful. And then this is a very good example. You know, this card right here. I mean, wow. Like, what can I say? Great card. I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. It is definitely going to see play. It will see play in multiple decks. Is it going to be a game changer? No. Is it going to be a meta changer? No. It's just another great, solid tool to put in your toolbox. And the card that probably wins my award for the cutest card, Gnome-Feratu. 2 mana, 2/3. Battle Cry. Remove the top card from your opponent's deck. Interesting. This fucks with your opponent. Hearthstone has been very slow to adopt any fuck with your opponent tactics. Dirty Rat was probably the first like widespreadly played one. Is this going to see widespread play? Well, it's a Warlock card, so no. It's a 2 mana 2/3, which is statted fairly strongly. So it's a nice early game play. Removing the top card from your opponent's deck, is it that impactful on turn 2? Not really. Is it going to be impactful later on? Yeah, actually it will. So, in a sense, it just forces a discard from your opponent. And we haven't really seen discard mechanics for your opponent at all in Hearthstone. You know, aside from just milling a dude. And so, I don't want to just dismiss this card as, a zoo, just a zoo thing. Like, it'll help Zoo, but Zoo's no good. Zoo might be good, honestly. Zoo might be good. They're getting a lot of stuff. But the other thing I want to say is, This gets you ahead in fatigue. So it's possible that there's more make your opponent draw, make your opponent discard cards, and Nosferatu will be a part of a weirdly fatigue your opponent Warlock deck, even though Warlock draws a lot of cards. Maybe there's some sort of Renounce Darkness, make your opponent throw away a lot of cards deck that's out there. I don't know. I'm spitballing ideas here. But I don't know. I just don't think this card is that good. I don't think this card is going to have that much impact on the game. Going to give it a 4 out of 10. I think it's playable, but it's not going to be good, and it's not going to be seen in any good decks. Valkyr Soulclaimer. 3-mana 1/4 warrior card. Whenever this minion survives damage, summon a 2/2 ghoul. That is pretty damn neat. So, you remember the 1-mana 1/3 thing that deals 1 damage to any minion played on your side? Well, guess what synergizes with that card? This card. So, essentially on turn 1, you can play this. Turn 2, you can play an Amani Berserker. Turn 3, you play this bad boy right here. Then you get a 3-mana 1/3 with a 2/2. That's not bad. Then you play Blood Razor on top of that. You have a 1/2, a 2/1, and a 2/2. And another 1/3, and like, you know what I mean? Like, these things all kind of spitball on each other. Obviously, if you play the Grimy Gadgeteer and you hit this card, and it becomes a 3/6, that's insane. Rampage. Is Rampage a warrior card that's still a thing? If it is, great with this card. You know, it's just a solid minion. Stat-wise, it sucks, but if you can get its effect off like once or twice, which shouldn't be that hard in Warrior, that's a good card. It gets you value. Too bad Warriors don't have like just a ping. Could fuck with this card. This deck is starting to come together. This sort of enrage, damage your own minions kind of deck is coming together. And I'm going to have to play with it and put all the pieces together. But I like the idea. I like the idea of it. I think it's neat. And it's something that's been in a thing in the past too. So why can't it be a thing now? And here's a great way for it to be a thing now. Stat-wise, it's a 1/4 for 3 mana, which is really bad. So it's basically a value generator. You're not playing it to get the 1/4 body, you're playing it to get the 2/2s. And this card also makes Necrotic Geist look like shit, because it's 3 mana cheaper and does the same thing. Gets me 2/2s. Why would I play Necrotic Geist? I don't know. Maybe there's some sort of token warrior deck? I don't know. Maybe this guy summons a bunch of ghouls and then you play Necrotic Geist and trade the ghouls in and get more ghouls. Meme deck? I don't know. So, I'm going to give this a 5.5. I think it will see fringe play in an enraged deck, which will end up being a fringe deck, but it will be fun and be slightly viable. Stitched Tracker. 3 mana 2/2 Hunter card, Battle Cry. Discover a copy of a minion in your deck. When I first read this card, I thought it said Death Rattle. This is a Battle Cry. That's better or worse depending upon what kind of deck you're building. So if you're building a Zoth deck, probably worse, right? Wouldn't you want this card to come back? And then you could discover a card, right? That would be better. It might be a little harder to pull off on a Death Rattle, just because it's kind of hard to go, a Death Rattle card dies, and then then a Discover effect triggers. So I guess it's probably better that it's a Battle Cry from a Hearthstone mechanics standpoint. And you're discovering a copy of a minion in your deck, so that's really nice in the sense that, hey, I've got a much better chance to get that Highmane on 6. I've got that much better chance to get that, I don't know, Death Rattle card that's really needed. I've got a much better chance to get that Houndmaster that I really need. I don't know. Like, that's pretty good. Like, you take a stat loss, and it's 3 mana, and we all know Hunter already has a bunch of great 3 mana cards, but I like this card. I mean, I do like the card. It's a value card, right? Because you're getting a 2/2 body basically for free, and you're cycling. You're essentially cycling, right? This is better than 3 mana 2/2 draw card, because you get to discover the minion. And it's a copy, so the minion doesn't get pulled from your deck. You just get another one. So it's good value, too. But this is a Hunter card. And I'm not shooting face. I don't understand. Like, it's a Hunter card. Is there going to be a value Hunter? Maybe with Zombeast. Does this fit into the Deathstalker ROCKSTAR deck? Yeah, almost certainly, right? I'm all about value in that deck, apparently. Value Hunter? What? Blizzard, stop trying to make Hunter something it's not. Alright? You know what Hunter is? Bunch of beasts going face. That's what it is. Just let Hunter be. You know what this should be? Do you know what this should be? This should be a 2 mana 2/2 weapon. That's it. That's what it should be. That's what Hunter needs. This should be a 2 mana 1/1 that deals 2 damage. That's what it needs. That is what Hunter needs. Just a 2 mana 1/1 beast that deals 2 damage upon entering play. That's what Hunter needs. But nope. They got this stupid thing. 3 mana 2/2. Discover a copy of it in your deck. It's a good card! It actually is a good card! Like, I really do like it. But it's annoying the shit out of me because Hunter keeps getting stuff to turn itself into value long game Hunter when every other class does value long game stuff better than Hunter. Hunter's not a value class. It's not a long game class. It is a tempo fucking attack you in the face, kill you as fast as you possibly can, aggressive class. Just let Hunter be. Let Hunter be the aggro class, Blizzard. Stop trying to make fucking Control Hunter a thing. Rant over. Awesome card. I do love it. I do think it's a good card. Still not going to see play because it doesn't fucking do what Hunter wants to fucking do. 4 out of 10. The Sunborn Valkyrie. 5 mana 5/4. Battle Cry. Give adjacent minions +2 health. That's fucking good. Wow, that's really good. Yes, obviously you need to have a board, you need to be ahead on board, but man, imagine this in some sort of like early token-based deck, and then just boom, now I've got buffer tokens, and let's go to town. A slight stat loss. It'd be nice if this was a 5/5 or a 5/6, but you know what? 5/4 is not terrible for 5 mana, but you know, like I said, no, you do need a board. You know, but this reminds me a lot of the Grime Street Protector, which was a 7 mana 6/6 and gave Divine Shield to 2 adjacent minions. Positioning becomes a lot more important now, which it always should have been. And yeah, good card, just great card. Neutral, common card, another good neutral common card. This is gonna be killing in Arena. And you know what? Really good in a Paladin deck. Really good in a sort of like early tempo-based Priest deck, maybe. Really good in just Token Shaman, again. And I'm a little annoyed that there's so many times I'm saying this, because Token Shaman's already a Tier 1 deck. Really good even in like a Token Rogue deck, some sort of like aggro Rogue deck. And this could be the card that keeps your minions alive for that 1 extra turn to blast through your opponent. Really good in like a Zoo deck, like a Zoo Warlock deck. Like any deck that is just getting shit on the board where you can reasonably expect to have 2 minions on board by turn 5. Which isn't that hard to do, because you got 4 turns to get some shit on the board and have it live. Even if this only hits 1 minion, maybe that minion trades up and doesn't die anymore. And then you got a 4/4 and a damaged minion, but like that's still pretty good. And 5 attack and 4 health. isn't terrible on 5. It's not good, but it's not terrible. And the fact that you're giving health to other things kind of makes up for the stat loss. Obviously, this card is shit if you don't have the board already. So you're not playing it in like a mage deck where you only have a couple of minions. You're playing it in some sort of deck that is trying to really attack the board and then snowball the board. And this is a good card for that. This is a good card, really good card. Honestly, it has a lot of play, has a lot of value, has a lot of applications. 8 out of 10. I think this card is going to see a ton of play. Archbishop Benedictus. 7 mana, 4/6 Priest Legendary. Battlecry. Shuffle a copy of your opponent's deck into your deck? Shuffle a copy of your opponent's deck into your deck. What? Shuffle a copy of your opponent's deck into your deck. Fucking A, bro. Well, nobody's fatiguing Priest anymore. I mean, if your opponent drew a card every time for 7 turns, that would, let's see, so you start with, on average, 4 cards, and then over the course of 7 turns, you would draw 7 cards, so that's 11. And normal card draw set dictates you'd probably draw about 3 more cards past that, so that's 14. So when you play this card on average, you're going to get 15 cards shuffled into your deck. Yeah, no fatigue and Priest no more. So this is kind of nuts. This is another one of those cards where you shuffle a whole shitload of cards into your deck. We've already seen that with Warrior, where you shuffle your entire hand back into your deck. And now we're seeing this with this card, Archbishop Benedictus. And yeah, and, we saw it with Jade Idol Druids, right? And shuffling Jade Idols, shuffling back into your deck. Gang Up was kind of the same thing, where you shuffled 3 copies of stuff into your deck. Just another one of these crazy fucking... Now, 7 mana 4/6 is terrible stat line, so you better be relatively ahead when this happens, or at least have a super duper controlling deck, which is probably what this deck is for. My guess is a fatigue-style Priest is going to become a thing, and then this is going to become a staple in said deck. And so what you're going to do is you're going to get down to like 8 or 9 cards. You're going to be behind in fatigue because you've been drawing a bunch of cards with your Northshire Cleric, etc., etc. Then your opponent's going to be like, well, I'll just play for fatigue. That's fine. I'm not going to draw any more cards, and I'm just going to let this dude play his cards until he dies. Bam! Archbishop Benedictus. Bam! I get 10 cards back in my deck. Bam! Yo ass is behind in fatigue. Bam! Now I can start drawing more cards even still and still be ahead in fatigue. This card is nuts. Now, is Fatigue Priest going to be a thing? Well, it's been a thing, so can it be a thing again? I think so, but there's a lot of decks that counter Fatigue now. There's a lot of... Not a lot. I mean, Control Warrior will be a thing too. Control Priest is going to be a thing. So, Fatigue Priest versus Fatigue Warrior. Yay, we all loved those games. Those were fun. 20 minutes for one match. If you like that sort of thing, well, here you go. Here's the card for you. So I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. I think it will see significant play in a significantly strong Control Priest deck, but I think that's the only deck it's going to see play in. So it doesn't get the coveted 8, 9, or 10 slot because I don't think it will see play in a lot of different decks. But, wow, what an effect! That's crazy. 6 mana, Priest card, Embrace the Darkness. Choose an enemy minion at the start of your turn, gain control over it. That's cool. That's really cool. Oh my god, the priest memes. Let them begin. So think about what this card actually says. Why is this card better than like a corruption, which has the same sort of idea? Destroy a minion at the start of your turn. Well, your opponent knows, okay, my minion's going to die. So guess what I'm going to do with my minion? I'm just going to go face, or I'm going to make an efficient trade, and then it'll die anyway. And then you don't get shit, so go fuck yourself, right? And so in a weird way, corruption doesn't have that much impact on the board and doesn't really see play. This card, your opponent has to kill the minion. Otherwise, you get it. So maybe he's like, I'll trade it in. Haha, gotcha. And it's like, but I killed your minion for 6 mana, which is what I wanted to do anyway. And so then now you can't just like make an efficient trade. Like, that doesn't work, because if you make an efficient trade, your opponent gets the card. So you have to make an incredibly inefficient trade to kill your dude. And most likely, you're going to, just trade 1 for 1, and then your dude dies, which is what you wanted anyway. So, like, in a weird way, you play this, and yeah, you kind of 2 for 1 yourself. Because, like, let's say you play this on a 5-5, and your opponent trades his 5-5 into your 5-5. So, 2 things die. You wasted another card. That's sort of the worst case scenario. Best case scenario, your opponent has no way to kill this. He just goes face with it, and then you get the minion back, and then you get his minion. Right? Or he has no way to kill it off, and so he just makes a bad trade, and then you get the minion anyway. Or he does manage to kill it off, and you killed your opponent's minion, which is what you wanted to do anyway. In a weird way, this card has really high upside, and its downside isn't even that bad. This is a pretty good card. It's neat. I love this card. Is it going to see a lot of play? I don't know. Maybe not. I think people will probably not understand all the situations that this card creates, and then maybe won't utilize it that much, or just go, this card sucks. Your opponent just destroys its minion anyway. But, like, that's what you wanted. Like, that's my point. Assassinate is 5 mana. This is basically an assassinate with upside. Yeah, you know what? Sometimes you're going to get a damaged minion. Sometimes your opponent will kill it off. But guess what? Your opponent is then wasting resources killing their own minion. They're not killing your stuff. They're killing their own stuff. And then he has to take a whole turn and figure out how the fuck am I going to kill off my own minion and still develop shit. Because they were counting on that minion. They're like, this guy's going to live. He's going to create some value for me. Or he'll go face once or twice. Now, even if he does go face, he's going to go to your opponent. Like, this card is insane. I think once people figure out how good this card actually is, it will see a lot of play. The only issue I have, 6 mana is a lot. So I'm going to give it an 8. I think it's going to see a lot of play. It will see a lot of play in a lot of priest decks. Will probably be a 2 of in most priest decks. It's just a little expensive and a little prohibitive, so it may not see the cut in all decks. All right. 4 mana, 3/3 Pirate. Neutral card. Phantom Freebooter. Battlecry. Gain stats equal to your weapons? Oh! Okay. So if I have a 3/1 weapon, this becomes a 6/4. Yeah, it's not bad. If I have an Arcanite Reaper, this becomes an 8/5 and 8/4. That's pretty good. If I have a 2/2 weapon, this becomes a 5/5. If I have a 2/1 weapon, this becomes a 5/4. If I have a 1/2 just straight Rogue's Dagger, this becomes a 4/5. Huh. If I had a 1/1 weapon, this becomes a 4/4. Huh. Pretty good. It's twice the cost of a Bloodsail Raider, but I would argue that the ability to gain health is pretty good. Is there any sort of like high health, low attack weapon? There is Light's Sorrow, Light's Justice. If you had a Light's Justice equipped, this becomes a 4/7. Is this going to see the cut in Pirate Warrior? Yeah, probably a 4-mana 8/4. 4-mana 8/5? Yeah. Yeah, that's going to see play. That's going to make the cut in Pirate Warrior. I mean, nothing has more than 4 health anyway. Even if it's just a Fiery War Axe, right? Would be a 4-mana 6/4. Yeah, that's good. Wow. I thought Pirate Warrior was good enough. But nope. Had to give Pirate Warrior a buff for some reason. So, is this going to see play outside of pirate weapon-based decks? I mean, obviously not. It's a pirate, and its stats need weapons to help it. So, yeah, it'll see play in Pirate Warrior. And, yeah, maybe it'll see play in some sort of other pirate-oriented deck. Maybe there's a Pirate Paladin or a Pirate Shaman deck that it'll see play in. So, 6 out of 10. Pretty solid addition to Pirate Warrior, which is a really good deck, and probably will be an addition to a couple other decks. So yeah, 6 out of 10. The definition of a 6. Mindbreaker. 3-mana 2/5. Hero powers are disabled. Okay. Why would I want to disable hero powers on turn 3 or 4? I really wouldn't. I don't know. Neat effect. Good stat line. Hero powers are disabled? I mean, I can't use a hero power then too, right? I don't know. I've never thought hero powers were that strong, and so disabling them, like forcing my opponent to not hero power. I don't know. A lot of times it was a bonus thing. I wasn't gonna hero power anyway, you know. Love the artwork. Fucking A, that dude looks awesome. I definitely want this guy to be in my heavy metal band. Yeah, not that good a card. It's okay. Probably be pretty good in Arena. 3 to 10. And that's it. Hope you guys liked this review. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Really appreciate you sticking around and digging through all these cards with me. It's been awesome. Should be a reveal stream coming up in a couple of days or so, which shows all the cards. And fingers crossed, sometime mid-August, August 10th, August 14th, we should be getting the new set. And so, fucking excited, ready to go. Keep learning, keep rocking, and the Rockstar will see you later. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you want to see more videos, you can see the most recent videos here. You can see a recommended playlist here. And if you want to subscribe, you go right here. Thank you so much. Keep learning, keep rocking, and the Rockstar will see you later.